Imagine this. It's a cold Friday night, February 24th, 1978, in Northern California. 5 close friends from the small town of Yuba City, Ted Wire, Jack Madruga, Bill Sterling, Jack Hewitt, and Gary Mathias, are buzzing with excitement. They call themselves the Boys, and they're more than just friends. They're a tight-knit brotherhood who play basketball together on a community team for people with mild intellectual disabilities. Most of them live at home with their loving families, but they're independent enough to enjoy life, hang out, and chase their small dreams. That evening, they pile into Jack Madruga S. 1969 Mercury Montego and drive about 50 miles north to Chico State University to watch a college basketball game. They're having a great time, cheering, laughing, just being guys. After the game, around 10 p.m., they stop at a little market called Bear's to grab some snacks. Chips, pies, chocolate milk, simple stuff for the ride home. They're extra pumped because the very next morning, Saturday, February 20th, they're supposed to play in their own special Olympic-style basketball tournament in Sacramento. The prize? A dream week-long vacation in Los Angeles. For these young men in their 20s and early 30s, this feels like the highlight of their year, but they never make it home. Instead of taking the easy, flat highway south back to Yuba City, something goes terribly wrong. Their car turns off onto a remote, winding mountain road that leads deep into the Plumas National Forest, high up in the Sierra Nevada mountains. It's the middle of a brutal winter storm, freezing temperatures, heavy snow, and pitch-black darkness. This road is nothing like their usual route. It climbs thousands of feet, with steep drops and no streetlights for miles. A few days later, on February 27th, searchers spot the Mercury Montego stuck in a snowbank along that lonely road. Here's where it gets really strange. The car isn't damaged or trapped badly. There's still plenty of gas left in the tank. The engine starts perfectly when they jump it. And there are no signs of any struggle. No blood, no broken windows, nothing. The keys are missing, but the guys are nowhere to be found. Why would 5 healthy young men abandon a warm, working car in the middle of a blizzard and just walk off into the freezing wilderness? The search turns up almost nothing at first because the heavy snow buries any clues. The families are devastated, waiting, praying, calling hospitals and police every day. The boys were supposed to be home that night. Their parents are worried sick. Then, months later, in June 1978, when the spring thaw finally melts the snow, the nightmare truly begins. A group of motorcyclists stumbles upon a remote U.S. Forest Service trailer, almost 20 miles away from where the car was found. A grueling distance through deep snow and rough terrain. That would have been hell to hike in the dark. Inside the trailer lies Ted Wire. He's stretched out on a bed, wrapped in several thin blankets like a shroud. He died from a combination of starvation and severe frostbite. The autopsy is shocking. Ted had been alive in that trailer for at least 8 to 13 weeks. He lost nearly 100 pounds before he finally passed away. Think about that. Weeks of suffering in the cold. But the trailer was stocked like a survivalist's dream. Outside, in a storage locker, there was enough dehydrated food and supplies to feed all 5 men for over a year. Yet only a few cans had been opened, and they were opened with a small military-style P-38 can opener, something only Gary Mathias or maybe Jack Madruga would have known how to use properly. Matches were scattered around. Heavy clothing was there, but no one ever lit a fire. The heater in the trailer was never turned on. Even more heartbreaking, the skeletal remains of Jack Madruga and Bill Sterling were found about halfway between the car and the trailer. Jack Hewitt's backbone and some remains turned up near the cabin area. They had clearly tried to make that long, desperate hike through waist-deep snow. And then there's Gary Mathias, the only one without an intellectual disability. Gary was 25, a former U.S. Army soldier who had been discharged after some issues, and he managed paranoid schizophrenia with medication. His black leather shoes were found inside the trailer with Ted, suggesting he had been there for some time too. But Gary himself? He vanished completely. No trace of him has ever been found, even decades later. In fact, as recently as a few years ago, authorities still listed him as a possible victim of foul play. Adding another layer of pure terror to this mystery is the only known witness from that night, a man named Joseph Shons. He was in his mid-50s and had driven up the same remote road earlier that evening to check on his cabin for a future ski trip. Around 5:30 p.m., his Volkswagen Beetle got stuck in the snow. While trying to push it free, he started feeling chest pains, the beginning of what felt like a heart attack. He got back in his car, kept the engine running for heat, and waited in agony. Around 11:30 p.m., Shons saw headlights behind him. He heard voices, whistling, and what sounded like a group of men talking. Then he claimed to see a woman holding a baby in the glow of the lights. Desperate for help, he screamed out. But the talking stopped instantly. The headlights switched off. The group went completely silent and stayed that way for hours in the freezing darkness. Later, he saw flashlight beams that also vanished when he called for help again. Shones eventually managed to walk miles down the mountain for help the next morning, and he actually passed the abandoned Mercury on his way. At the time, he didn't connect it to anything. Only when the disappearances made the news did he come forward. Police took his statement seriously, but they never found any evidence of a woman, a baby, or a sixth person. Was Shones hallucinating from pain and cold? Or was there really something, or someone, else out there that night? To this day, the Yuba County Five, or Yuba City 5, remains one of America's most baffling unsolved mysteries, sometimes called the American Dyatlov Pass. Why did they drive so far in the wrong direction? Why leave a perfectly good car? Why not use the food, the matches, or the heater? Did they get lost due to the storm and confusion? Was Gary Mathias having a schizophrenic episode that somehow convinced the others to follow him? Did they think they were following snowcat tracks to safety? Or was there foul play? Maybe they encountered someone dangerous after stopping for snacks. Or something darker, involving that mysterious woman and baby sighting. Some theories suggest a collective panic or disorientation from the high altitude and freezing conditions. Others point to Gary possibly leading them while off his meds. A few even wonder if an outside person forced them off the road, but no solid proof has ever emerged. The California mountains swallowed their secrets and refused to let them go. The families never got closure. For years they searched, hoped, and mourned. The boys were excited for a simple basketball game and a tournament that never happened. Instead, they walked into a frozen hell with no explanation. What do you think really happened that night? Was it a tragic accident caused by confusion and bad luck? A mental health crisis? Or something far more sinister? Drop your theories in the comments. This is one case that still haunts anyone. Who hears it? What would you do if you were lost in a blizzard with a warm car and a stocked trailer? The mystery of the Yuba City 5 continues to baffle investigators decades later. What's your take on the mysterious woman and the baby? Drop a comment and join the conversation. Don't forget to subscribe to Truthful for your daily dose of mystery. Thanks for watching.